horrific terror attack outside Paris.
The French authorities have named the man who beheaded a teacher in a Paris suburb yesterday.
Another day of horror in France. 3 people killed in a knife attack.
Who did? In the rampage.
Now remember Nice.
Okay, this is going to be difficult. Stay with us till the end and we'll try to make sense of everything that's been happening in France. France के पेरिस में a high school teacher was beheaded because he had shown caricatures of Prophet Muhammad in class. लेकिन क्यों? What was even in the caricature to begin with? The killing of Samuel Paty, for the entire story, थोड़ा पीछे जाना होगा.
बात 2011 की है. चार्ली हेब्डो ने एक कवर पेज पे प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद का कैरिकेचर यूज किया. The text translates to 100 lashes if you don't die of laughter. इसके बाद और क्या होना था? Their office was firebombed by Islamic extremists. But they did not budge. पूरे ऑफिस के बर्बाद होने के ठीक एक हफ्ते बाद चार्ली हेब्डो ने ये पब्लिश किया. It translates to Love is stronger than hate. चार्ली हेब्डो क्लास का वो बच्चा है जो बहुत stubborn है. And they had to pay the price for this stubbornness.
This is 7th January 2015. सुबह के 10:30 बज रहे थे. फ्रांस की एक सैटारिकल मैगजीन चार्ली हेब्डो की वीकली एडिटोरियल मीटिंग होने वाली थी. At 11 a.m., 2 gunmen entered the office and started firing blindly. 12 people were killed and 4 were injured. According to several witnesses, after the killing they shouted, "We have avenged Prophet Muhammad. We have killed Charlie Hebdo." This incident was known as the 2015 Charlie Hebdo shooting. It was mostly due to caricatures like these. A lot happened. But Charlie Hebdo didn't let go of their freedom of expression, even after losing out their own. They still published caricatures of Prophet Muhammad, even after the incident. अब वापस आते हैं 2020 में. Now you have a fair idea of why Charlie Hebdo is so important in the context of freedom of expression in France. High school teacher Samuel Paty को भी ऐसा ही लगा था while he was making the lesson plan for his students. कई न्यूज़ रिपोर्ट के हिसाब से Samuel had asked the Muslim students to leave the class if they were uncomfortable with Prophet Muhammad's depiction before he had shown them. Then he proceeded with it. कई students ने ये भी बताया that this was done before too and been done since the 2015 shootouts that we just talked about. Samuel Paty was killed by Abdullah Ansurov, a Russian immigrant of the Chechen ethnic descent. अब एक क्वेश्चन दिमाग में आएगा कि what was the need to kill Samuel over a caricature?
हमने भी यही सोचा. In 2000s, almost 70,000 Chechen people immigrated to Russia. Abdullah, the killer, and his family were one of them. His half-sister had already fled to Syria to support ISIS in 2014. Abdullah was closely in touch with jihadis from Syria. He claimed responsibility for the attack just after it in an audio message in Russian, in which he says he had avenged the Prophet. अब आते हैं मुद्दे पे. If someone draws Prophet Muhammad or makes a joke on him, should his so-called extreme followers take matters in their own hand and kill on his behalf? देखो, यहाँ पे कोई religious text की नहीं, common sense की ज़रूरत है. No religion gives anyone a free pass to go on a killing spree. और अगर technically बोले तो Quran doesn't exactly prohibits depiction of Prophet Muhammad, although it is prohibited by several hadiths. लेकिन फिर भी the point remains, nobody can justify killing someone over showing a caricature.
France के president Emmanuel Macron has been trying to fight Islamic separatism. He said Islam as a religion is going through a crisis. Now this alone offended a lot of people across the world. In fact, इतना offend कर दिया that an offended Islamic extremist killed 3 people in a church in Nice, France, making it the 3rd Islamic terror incident in almost a month in France. Attacks on the French consulate also happened in Saudi Arabia. Since the 1990s, there have been 75 big or small Islamic terror attacks in several countries across the European Union, and these alone have claimed thousands of lives. और उसके बाद भी people like Mahathir Mohamad had the audacity to say Muslims have the right to be angry and kill millions of French people for the massacre of the past. Like, wow, Mahathir. Wow. और ये एटीट्यूड नया नहीं है. Even after Charlie Hebdo shooting, An Australian preacher, Junaid Thorne, said, "If you want to enjoy freedom of speech with no limits, expect others freedom of action." Anjem Chaudhry, a radical Islamist, wrote in an editorial after the shooting that those who insult prophets of Islam should face death. In Afghanistan, there were rallies citing them as the heroes, the people who were involved in the shootings. After these incidents, an opinion poll was conducted in France, which showed that 87% of people felt the secularist society of France was under threat, and 79% people felt Islam had declared war on France. Emmanuel Macron is getting hate from all the Islamic countries for merely defending his country's freedom of speech and condemning the attack.
Even in India, his photos were pasted on Mumbai's roads. Rallies were taken out in Bhopal to protest, and almost every Islamic country is against Macron's stand. और इससे पहले you hate on Charlie Hebdo for being anti-Muslim, let me tell you, they are pretty much anti-everything. They have made jokes on Jesus, Pope, Mother Mary, Donald Trump, Obama, and pretty much everything under the sun. And the only time they have suffered loss of life was when they made jokes on Prophet Muhammad. Extremists are everywhere, in every community. It's just that they need to realize that they can't kill people as per their whims.
Although what's funny is in all the Islamic countries which are against him, like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt and Yemen, ये वही countries हैं जहाँ freedom of speech is virtually non-existent. France has also shut down pro-Hamas mosques since then to curb radical Islamists. खैर, जो भी हो, बात सिर्फ यहाँ पे आती है कि is anyone's belief system so fragile that they need to kill to justify their God? या फिर should freedom of speech have some boundaries? और अगर ये boundaries होंगी तो ये boundaries कौन decide करेगा? आज ये boundaries सिर्फ Prophet Muhammad तक होंगी, कल फिर कुछ और. I have a genuine question here. Who decides what can be joked about and what can't be joked about? Freedom of speech is at the core of any democracy, and the moment it disappears, the democracy starts to stumble. ये सब सुनकर a quote comes to my mind, which sums the stand of freedom of speech for the extremists who create tension in a world which is already messed up. The quote went like, "I may not agree with what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." And this is the message that needs to reach everyone. If something offends you or troubles your faith, protest, fight, but justifying killings in the name of religion has helped nobody. This is the time when Muslims around the world need to send one message, loud and clear, that if anyone kills someone in the name of religion, the person is not a Muslim anymore. He is a brainwashed individual. He is a terrorist. Period.